questions throughout the talk, you're more than welcome to just put them in the chat. If you are listening to us on Facebook, just go ahead and post them there. And if we have the answers right away, I will post them in the chat. If not, we will wait until we are done and then we can read them through. And that way we have answers for all of you.
Perfect. Thanks, Maria. I believe we're live on Facebook. Maria, if you could check, that would be awesome. And if you could mute yourself before doing that, it'll create a
Yes.
feedback loop. But great. Okay, so I believe we are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, and oh, sorry, the Zoom bar is affecting things. Here we are. All right. Here we are. Maria, how does it look so far?
Good. Full
Good.
screen is now, yes, all good.
Excellent. All right, we're good to go. Yeah, sorry everyone. Again, technical difficulties with the internet, but I'm glad we are able to get started. So, talking about diving in Fiji, specifically Southern Viti Levu and Beqa Lagoon. I know it's spelled Beqa, but it's actually pronounced Benga, same way that Nadi is actually pronounced Nandi, as well as Cakau Leka Leka, which is a very special atoll um, just outside of Beqa Lagoon, what that Waidroka specifically does. It's very different diving than the rest of what you might have seen from Fiji, but also kind of similar. It's a little bit of a mix of both. So Beqa Lagoon has a lot of biodiversity. Um, it's got 8 species of sharks, 1,800 species of fish and counting. That seems really high, but that must be true. That's pretty amazing. Soft coral, hard coral, and lots of macro critters, nudibranchs, and all sorts of life. It's got a nice set of diversity and diverse diving. I've been down to Waidroka for I think 3 or 4 days of diving there, and it was really excellent. It's definitely the shark dive that you might have heard of is the highlight. It's an experience where you can actually go down, sit on the sea floor, and they will feed the sharks. And it's in a very controlled environment where there's a whole like basically a brick wall that's built underwater. You stand behind the wall, and they feed sharks, which will go around in a circle. And then the shark handlers actually have these poles that keep sharks away from the divers. So it's very well run compared to some other shark dives that I've done in the world, as well as bull shark diving specifically. Bull sharks kind of have that reputation for being a little bit more aggressive, and they definitely handle it very well here. Um, I've done bull shark dives where it's more of a free for all, and that can be a little bit sketchy, and this is not that. So now it's a year-round dive destination. Let me get to the next slide here. And you can see exactly where we're talking about. So when you fly into Fiji, you kind of, I'm going to skip forward to that. You fly into the west side here in Nandi International Airport. It's super easy to get there. It's a 10-hour flight from Los Angeles. It's nonstop, which is awesome. You can also fly there from San Francisco and Honolulu, which is even closer. And yeah, it's a pretty non-eventful flight. You get there, and then it's a 2.5-hour transfer overland, usually in a small bus over to Waidroka, which is on the southern part of the island. So going back to the dive map that we have here. You've got Beqa Lagoon right next to this little island right there, which is where the famous shark dive is. You've got Frigate's Passage, which is known for a little bit more current, but also big red gorgonians and a lot of life. The hard coral diving in Beqa Lagoon and Frigate's Passage is pretty incredible. You might have heard about soft coral in Fiji and all the colors there. There is still soft coral and a lot of color, but it's also got a really nice set of hard coral diversity, which is kind of really found that the pinnacle of hard coral diversity is at Cakau Leka Leka, which is a unique diving place that most people don't dive, about an hour to an hour and a half from Waidroka. Okay, so I spoke a little bit about the Fiji shark dive. You can come into contact with almost as many as 70 sharks at a time. during the shark experience, which is really cool to see. There's 8 different species. Typically, what you'll see is bull sharks. I see a lot of lemon sharks. You'll see nurse sharks, um, and sometimes white tip reef sharks. But if you're lucky, you can also get the big tiger sharks coming by. And like I said, it's all very controlled. They basically have trash cans full of bait. They hang them up in the water column. The sharks will go around it. They'll let some of the bait out every now and then. And the sharks kind of go in this, I think, counterclockwise direction. Sometimes it can change to clockwise, but they're pretty orderly. And if a shark goes over that wall that you're sitting behind, the shark handlers will take their poles and they'll gently nudge them out of the way, and it ends up working really well. With the soft coral dive sites, there's about 30 sites to choose from. Again, there's a good amount of soft coral, but also tons of hard coral, which is excellent. Probably my favorite dive site is Seven Sisters. In Fiji, the coral is kind of you could say that the topography is pretty unique. It's organized into these bommies. They're called bommies, which are these underwater mushroom-shaped formations. I think they're formed partly because of the currents there. So there's a lot of current at some of the sites, which is what you want. When the current is out, all the fish come out, the soft coral inflates, and it looks really amazing. And you kind of learn how to dive on these bommies by ducking into different holes and corners and trying to avoid the current that way. So you want to get on the lead side of the current. But the current creates these mushroom-shaped formations that are, roughly the size of a car to the size of a city block, which can be really cool to dive. And Seven Sisters is my favorite because you have 7 of those formations, which are really neat to see. Okay, so here's a few photos of what the diving looks like. I'll also show a few of my photos. Let me see. I think after we talk about some of these sites, I'll go into that. So you can see some of the soft coral on the left, as well as a tiger shark on the bottom right there. And then I think that's also tiger on the top. I saw a lot of bulls when I went last time, as well as a shipwreck. There are some really nice shipwreck dives in this part of Fiji as well. Now, Frigate's Passage is on the outer barrier reef of Beqa Lagoon. It's got some pretty incredible vertical walls with red gorgonians. I'd say red gorgonians are kind of the coral to see in the Beqa Lagoon area, um, and hard corals as well. You can see some more pelagics here as well as Cacau Leka Leka, like eagle rays, mobula rays, zebra sharks, barracuda, um, gray sharks, white tip sharks, and turtles as well. So here's some more photos from Frigate's Passage where you can see the eagle rays, some of the white tip reef sharks, barracuda in the walls. And then finally, we have Cacau Leka Leka, which is a pretty stunning atoll. It's 39 kilometers southwest of Viti Levu, and Waidroka is the only resort that's currently doing that location, like I said. Now, it is an hour to an hour and a half boat ride, and you do have to pre-book it, but it's certainly worth doing, and I'm going to show you guys that now in a YouTube video that we have. I'm happy to stop it right there. I think you kind of can see just how amazing the hard coral diversity is. So that is really cool. And now that I've spoken about most of the dive sites, I'm going to go ahead and share some of my images that I've captured as well. So let me go to that. I'm going to share again. Here we are. And these images will be kind of mismatched because I was shooting multiple cameras and it seems to struggle with that. But here we are. So, one of my favorite things to do, especially if I'm leading a photo workshop there, which
Wait,
I've
Nirpam,
been.
we can't see your screen yet. It's
Oh,
all
it's not.
black. There we
Oh,
go.
how about now?
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes. Hi, Shark.
perfect. So yeah, thanks, Maria. So one of my favorite things to do with sharks, because you do a lot of shark diving when you're there, is to play with the motion blur in an image to really make a shark seem a little bit more ferocious or make the scene seem a bit more exciting. So in this case, I lowered my shutter speed to take this image, and I panned a little bit with the camera to get that kind of swift motion look. Um, it's like I said, it's a lot of shark diving. We were shark diving for about 2 days, and that was a total of about, I think it was between 4 and 6 dives. You get plenty of time with the sharks, which is really nice. I know a lot of people get apprehensive about, well, will I have enough time? Will it be very crowded? The nice thing is, these dives are a little bit on the deeper side, so about 70 to 80 feet. So you do get pretty close to your NDLs, and your dive guides are always watching that, which means that even if there's other groups there, often the groups will alternate. So you'll usually have the wall to yourself, and you can kind of find your own space on the wall. I try to situate groups so that some people get to have all the video shooters on one side, and we'll have all the photo shooters on another, so that we're not getting in the way of each other. Um, and yeah, there's plenty of opportunities for photos and videos. So here's some more motion blur shots. Some people don't like them. This one kind of shows the chaos of the scene where you have all the reef fish and you have all the sharks kind of fighting for that bait. Again, more with the chaos, but I've got a couple non-motion blur shots, don't worry. And then this kind of shows the chaos and sharp focus where I'm not doing motion blur. If you have a faster shutter speed, you can really get that sharp looking shark and all the subjects in the background. You can see just how many sharks there are. In this day, there were a ton of bull sharks that came by. The composition of species really does change day to day. Sometimes you'll see some more lemon sharks, which can be a little bit friendlier. And then sometimes you'll see some more white tips, and it just kind of depends on the given day. I've seen rays go by as well. They can be um, hungry too. This shows the amazing hard coral diversity in the area. You can see one of the native lionfish. These are not invasive in Fiji. They're native. So one of the native lionfish on the reef. And I believe this was actually on the top of a shipwreck. So some of these shipwrecks here have really become quite overgrown with coral, which is really nice. You can see some more of the chaos. Here I believe you can see one of the trash cans with bait. So that's kind of where they put the bait, and then you can see all the sharks surrounding it. So they'll bring the bait up to the top, which kind of brings the sharks up to a point where you can kind of get nice photos as they go by. A lot of the sharks seem to be pregnant. I believe this is a pregnant female. I've got another angle um, of that female. And then after the shark dive, once you've hit those NDLs, the rest of the dive is very nice as well. So you can actually swim up a little bit shallower and get closer to a safety stop depth and still see lots of different coral. These wire corals are very colorful and very cool to see. You can see one of the shark wranglers with his pole right there. And they sit behind you, and they, like I said, they push the pole out if they need to, but they really didn't need to that whole time. The sharks really know the drill. And here's some more of that coral. On the reef, there's a lot of very aggressive damselfish. You just have to watch your fingers, or they might nibble on them. This one was going after my camera, so I got some really cool photos in this series. And you can see some of the reef in the background. How it's a lot of nice hard corals and wire coral. This is the one of my favorite surface intervals. So Beqa Lagoon also has white sand beaches like you see in all the calendars about Fiji. It's very, very pretty. And this was us just after the dive, drinking some water, and then more of the white sand beach. And here you can actually see what the dive boat looks like. This is a very common setup for dive operators in Fiji. I feel like a lot of them have the exact same setup for boats. It's enough for about, if I remember correct, 6 to 8 divers. And you usually put your cameras in the center, and they have a camera rinse tank that you can see there. Another view of the island near Beqa Lagoon and just our service interval. This is just our group. We took a few boats. We didn't all fit in that one boat. But this is our group at Waidroka Resort, which Maria will be talking about shortly. Here is another angle of one of the female sharks. This is a hawkfish. There's lots of different reef fish, which are a lot of fun to photograph if you've got a macro lens. So even though, we're diving with sharks and soft coral and gorgonians, it can be really nice to have a macro lens to get some of the anthias and the hawkfish. This is a close-up view of the anthias. You'll see big schools of them in the soft coral, as well as going around the hard coral and wrecks. And then this is an example of one of the shipwrecks. Maria, can you see everything okay? Okay, cool, great. Um, so this is one of the shipwrecks. You can see the propeller is just completely encrusted with life. It's bright red. It's really fun to photograph that. The visibility is excellent. Usually viz there is, at least 50 feet, but more like 100 on a given day. This was in October during the dry season, which is also good for good viz. Um, Here we just have, I think this was at Seven Sisters, one of my favorite dive sites. Found this interesting algae on the reef, so I thought that made a pretty picture. And then here you can see more of the reefs and some of the divers that was diving with, some more coral. One of the red gorgonians that the area is famous for, especially Frigate's Passage. I thought this coral was very pretty. The colors were pretty stunning. And that's one of the fun things is just looking at all the different corals and the hard corals and soft corals and seeing the tapestry of color. And this is another view of that pregnant female. You can definitely see its belly's expanding there. And I believe that's all my photos that I selected from Waidroka for this presentation. But let me go back to the presentation here. Okay, excellent. So,
We'll wait a bit because it's all black for now. Okay, we're
yeah,
good. Um, but it's not full.
there we are. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
cool.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, and then yeah, this is Cacau Leka Leka as I showed the video from. So you have a coral pinnacle and it's a sheer wall that goes down 1,000 feet. You can choose your depth, so you don't have to worry about that when you're diving there. Okay, so conditions and seasonality. So the diving is great year round, but the best time to go, and it's not by a large margin by any means, is going to be May to October when you have the best visibility. It's peak bull shark season. The water's a little bit cooler. Um, I don't remember it being that cool, to be honest. I think it was upper 70s when we were there. But the temperature averages 70 to 80 degrees. So if you are going in the cooler season, it could be worth bringing a 5 mil wetsuit. If you're going during the warmer season, um, from November to April, it can be worth bringing a 3 mil. And then it's just important to know that when you are doing shark dives, you want to bring drab clothing, whether it's your fins or your wetsuit. It's good to have something that doesn't have a lot of color because the sharks kind of get attuned to seeing color, and that's what they target when they're hunting. Now, they're not really in hunting mode for most of that time, but it's better to just have dark wetsuits and clothing. So now visibility, like I said, minimum is about 50 feet usually, but it's about 65 to 100 feet on clear days, especially offshore. And currents can be variable. They usually change with the tides, and it depends on also the moon cycle. But you want current if you can to see all of the reef fish and all of the cool critters come out and the coral really expand. So that's always nice to have, and you get used to the current and where to hide from it during the course of the dives. Okay, I talked about how to get there already. So I believe we are going to bring it to Maria, who will talk a little bit about the resort.
Yes, thank you. So Waidroka, as Nirupam already said, is on the south side of the island, around 2 to 3 hour drive from the airport. You can arrive at any time. They will pick you up 24 hours, no problem with that. So that's something also very cool when you land. I think the one in LA is 6 a.m. or something like that, Nirupam, that you land. So you can just go straight to the resort.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, right. So it's a very intimate resort. It only has 12 rooms. So if you guys are interested in booking, send us an email quite quickly because they are pretty booked in advance. They have a very family-centered styled atmosphere. Doesn't mean it's children running around. It's more like you feel part of the family as soon as you step into the resort. The staff provide exceptional personal service. They try to remember your name, what you like, how you like your coffee in the morning. They're really, really nice people, super attentive, and they're happy to work there. And you can definitely tell when you're there. It's, as I said, quite small, 12 rooms, quite uncrowded as well. Even though it's on the main part of the island, it's still very secluded and it has its little oceanfront part. So you're not bothered by crazy partiers around. It's more dive resort based and dive centered. But you also have the very nice part about this that you have a lot of water sports. If we have anyone interested in surfing, as Nirupam said, you've got the frigates that are super close by and they're excellent for surfing. It's one of probably the few spots on Earth that you can combine both underwater and surfing in the same holiday. So if you guys are interested in that, also let us know. And you can also do a lot of land-based activities because they're on the main side of the island. So you don't have to catch a boat to go and do something and then you spend half a day traveling there. You can actually do a lot of land excursions, such as hiking, waterfall, trekking, rainforest, skydiving, pretty much you name it. And if it's in Fiji, then we can get you there. Um, and we also have different packages that suit everyone. So we have 3 different room styles. Nirupam, if you can show me the next slide, please, so I can talk about the rooms. I'm going to start anyways. So we've got 3 different styles. The Superior Deluxe Oceanfront Bureau, which can have up to 6 guests. And then we have the Panoramic Ocean View, which fits up to 4 people. Sorry, 3 people, and the Deluxe, there we go. And the Deluxe Oceanfront Bureaus with up to 4 guests. So as you can tell, these are actually like separated. So it's not like you're in a huge hotel that you can hear your neighbor. You're actually slightly separated, except for the panoramic. They're kind of like in one flat level. And we can organize 5 and 7 night packages for you guys. And then if we can go the next one, please. Oh, something quite important. All of them have air conditioning. So that is something to keep in mind as well. You don't have to bear through the hot nights in Fiji. You can have air conditioning and fans, tea and coffees in the room, and a mini fridge as well for cold water if you feel like it. Okay. And the next one, please. I'm going to talk about the diving. So they are a 5-star PADI resort. You can go from bubble maker to dive master if you want. Go for it. You can also do some advanced courses or specialties on site. Just let us know and we will make sure that they can arrange it for you on site. You can see most of the dive sites in the area, as Nirupam already talked about. You can have wreck diving, you can have shark diving, you can have reefs, you can go to Cakau Leka Leka. So pretty much everything that you want to do in the area, we can organize it for you. As you've seen, we have hard coral and we've got soft coral and shark diving, which is included in all of the 5 night packages and above. And we have night trucks as well. The packages normally come with air, but just let us know and we'll upgrade it to night trucks and we'll let you know the difference. Um, as you can see, the boats, there are actually 2 boats that they have a maximum 16 and 12 passengers, but they don't normally pack them all the way. So you guys can actually move around and especially bring your big cameras because that's what you're there in Fiji for, right? Good pictures. All right, the next one up, please. So it's not only diving that we can offer in Waidroka. As I said before, we can help you get river rafting, go check out the local villages, markets, traditional ceremonies. If you feel like canoping around the jungle and sliding through, yeah, you can do that too. If you feel like going underwater and go caving, you can do that too. or just grab an ATV or buggy, whatever those things are called down at the bottom. I have no idea because I go there for the diving mostly. I would not go on that thing. But if you want to, we have plenty of activities that you can, your last day, you don't have to just be chilling at the hotel waiting for your flight. You can actually do some fun stuff, land-based. And lastly, the exclusive packages that we have, they're going to be on the next slide, please. And they are our special 5 nights and 7 nights. So with the 5 nights that are frozen, but I'm going to tell you about them. There we go. We have 9 dives, out of which one is a shark day dive for sure, weather permitting. And then the rest are either the frigates or the coral walls or the wrecks. It depends on the weather and depends on the groups, what they want to do pretty much, and what the dive guides tell us that we can do. They include round trip airport, both of them. As I said, 24/7, doesn't matter what time your flight is, they will come and get you and they will take you to the airport. You have the kava ceremony as well included, which is a traditional drink and ceremony that they will explain everything and they'll make you try it if you want to. And also you have a lovo feast, which is a traditional Fijian kind of like underground barbecue. It's cooked in leaves and then it's like a hole dug in the ground and they just make the meat there and it's super nice. You have that included, and if you guys stay 7 nights or more, you can also have some other islands visits included, such as Yanuka Island. And with all of these, you can also use the kayaks and the stand-up paddle boards and all the facilities, obviously, at the resort, like the pool and everything else that we have on site. Um, and this special is you can book it until July 31st. So it's been extended. Just let us know. We're going to email you guys tomorrow at some point throughout the day to let you know that you can reach out directly to us and get your exclusive packages and just let us know your dates, how many people are coming, what are you interested in doing, and then we'll make sure to that we'll set it up for you. Um, Remember that when you book with Blue Water, there are no extra fees. You get your personal travel assistant or agent, as you would like to call us, who is going to be responding to all your emails. And also you have the whole team, which we are 24/7 world coverage. We're all over the world. So whenever you need us, just send us a message, give us a call, and someone will reach out to you shortly. And that is about it. Well, something also very special about us is that even if we have not all been to all the places that we sell, we have colleagues who have been, or someone in the photo team like Nirupam who's been there, and we can just reach out and we'll give you the first hand experience and reviews. And that's about it on my side. Do we have any questions?
Actually, I also wanted to add just a couple things based on these packages and my experience in Waidroka. The Lobo Feast is incredible. So it's definitely worth going to Waidroka just for that one feast. They show you how they prepare everything. It takes a whole day for them to prepare everything too. They have like this separate hut where they grill everything underground. And then they also have that kava ceremony, which is a lot of fun. It's very interesting to see how it's done. And Waidroka is really cool because they give you these daily activities that you don't have to participate in, but it's a lot of fun to do and experience that part of the culture. So they'll teach you how to make weave baskets. They'll teach you how to make local drinks, and it's just really neat. There's something every day, so that's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth going to Waidroka just for that part of the experience. Not even the diving or the surfing or everything else that they have to offer, but the place itself. So. Cool. Okay, so now I think we have a Q&A session. So if you have access to the chat or if you're on Facebook and you want to drop a comment, feel free to drop a comment or a question here. I'll read through these and we'll do our best to answer all of this. But feel free to ask as many questions as you want. It's also a smaller group this time, so if you want to unmute yourself and talk, that's okay as well. So one of the questions that we had first are how deep are these dives? And kind of like I was saying, you don't have to be event certified, I believe. Is that correct, Maria? But I think you do do some dives down to that 60-foot depth. and the shark dives can be at that 70 to 80 foot depth. So for the shark dives, I think it depends on the shark site, but some of the shark sites are advanced for sure. Now, most dives you're not going deeper than 80 feet. I don't think we ever did when I was over there. So for the most part, the dives are fairly shallow, between 40 and 60 on average. Um, and if they are deeper, there's a nice reef that goes all the way up to the top. Uh, let's see here. With the currents, is it mostly drift diving? And even though, there are currents in Beqa Lagoon in Fiji, a lot of the diving throughout Fiji is it has current, but it's not a drift dive. Usually, you kind of go around the bombing, you look for places to kind of hide away from the current, and then you swim into the current to try to get photos or just try to see all the life that comes out. It's not super, super strong current, it's just usually prevalent, if that makes sense. So it's not like diving in Cozumel where you just have this big drift and you're going, a mile for a dive. It's usually that there's current on the reef that you're diving, but you swim in and out of it. And if there is a lot of current, then it does turn into drift dive. So you'll probably do one or two drift dives during the trip, but it's not a usual thing. Okay, next question I have is, do you have access to birding photography excursions? Um, Maria, I'll let you answer that one.
Yes, you can actually do that. So you can do that either around the resort or you can do it as a day trip or half day trip, and then it's organized with the hiking and it's a little bit farther out. But definitely, yes. Bring good shoes.
Cool. Thanks, Maria. The next question I have is, are there any shore reefs in shallow water near the resort? Um, So from my experience, I don't think you can shore dive from the resort. Am I right on that, Maria? No. But there are some shallower reefs close to the resort. So I think if I remember correctly, there were some sites that were like 10 minutes out, pretty easy to get to and fairly shallow. So like when you do your checkout dives and when you do, and if you request shallow sites, you can totally do that. We did sites that were, 20 to 40 feet deep, nice, sunny, clear water with a lot of hard coral, which is great. Next question I have is: it looks like from the pictures that folks are wearing hoods. Do you need the hoods to keep warm? No, you definitely don't need a hood to keep warm. A lot of the divers I dive with tend to wear hoods. I don't know why that is. I wear a hood as well. I'm just used to it being from the West Coast. But you certainly don't need a hood in Fiji. Um, cool. The next question I have is there any good snorkeling from shore for non-divers in the group? Maria, do you know the answer to that one?
There are some that are near the resort, so you can go out on the little dock that they have, and then you can snorkel there. But then you can also go on the boats, and there the dive side, the snorkeling sites are not too far away. So yes, you can just do it.
Yeah, in my experience, a lot of the dive sites, they are shallow enough that you could snorkel them as well, if I remember correctly. Um, there are some that are on the deeper side, uh, but it's a good mix. And the dock area is pretty cool near the resort. They've got a tank set up as well for you to like clean all your equipment, and it's very easy to like stage everything there as well. Um, are there seagrass beds in the shallows? I don't remember that near the resort. Maria, do you know if there's seagrass beds?
I'm not seeing any seagrass around here. Mostly seeing shallow reefs, but I can definitely ask Richard, our person in Waidroka, and let you guys know for sure. Yes.
Yeah, I've in my experience from the reef dives that I've done, I didn't see any seagrass. They were kind of with bommies, you have these hard coral that kind of go all the way to the surface, and you don't get that seagrass. But I did see some algae on the reefs, kind of like I showed in that photo. Cool. Any other questions, Maria? Did anyone have questions on Facebook?
You're the one managing Facebook. I can only see that we are live. Sorry.
Okay. Let me check there.
About how far out are the dive sites from the land near Pam? Do you remember roughly?
So it depends on where you're going. I think Frigate's Passage is a little bit farther. I remember Beqa Lagoon being about 30 minutes out. Some of the closer dive sites, like Seven Sisters, if I remember correctly, are about more in the 10 to 30 minute range. So I would say usually minimum 10, maximum of an hour. And then if you're going to Cacao Leka Leka, that's an hour to an hour and a half.
Mm.
Okay. See, any final questions? Would you say the rental gear is good quality? Maria, did you want to answer about the rentals?
I don't have any information about the rental gear, but I will also find it out for you and email you, Adam.
Yeah, I don't
I'll
remember
just,
anyone renting gear on the trip, which is
mhm.
why I don't want to say anything about it. But when I went, the dive shop area was very nice and nicely maintained. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't good quality. So, but I'll let Maria reach out to you. Another question, is there an age limit for divers? Maria, do you know that?
As in young or old? Sorry.
Oh,
I don't know how to politically say that.
I think we can say young or old. Old.
Old. I haven't heard anything in Fiji. I know that in Indonesia, some places do say 65 and in India as well. But in Fiji, I have not come across. I will also get that for you, Cheryl. And if there are any like 65 or above that they need a medical certificate or anything, I will definitely reach out and inform you guys. Yes, thank you. Very good question. And young wise, anyone who's certified can join in because as Nirpam said, the different dive sites have different depths. So even junior divers can come along for sure. Perfect. Yeah, I haven't come across anything, but I will definitely check. Yes, thank you. Anything on Facebook, Nirpam?
Not that I see. So I think that might be all of our questions. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Like we said before, we've got these exclusive 5 night and 7 night specials. So make sure you reach out to us. You have Maria's contacts, Maria at bluewaterdivetravel.com, or you can reach out to just all of us at info at bluewaterdivetravel.com. And thank you so much for watching on Facebook. Stay tuned on this channel as well. We'll have some more webinars coming out soon. And yeah, thanks guys. Have a great rest of your evening.
Hi, everyone.
See ya.